Hello guys, here is Mr. Ruiz. I'm glad to see you, well, at least in this platform. Thank you for all the people that is seeing this video, and actually, I hope you understand the topic. First of all, we're gonna be talking about the apostrophes. The first thing that we're gonna study are the usages. This is important for you to understand. Number one, there are contractions. Apostrophe usage is made up to form contractions. But what is a contraction? Well, as you see it, it's a shortened form of a word. This is, for example, in I have, you have a pronoun and also you have an auxiliary verb. I've. You use the apostrophe to shorten this phrase. I have. The same case in they are. We are making it shorter by using the apostrophe in the case before re. The other example is you cannot. So in this case, we see that we use an apostrophe to contract that phrase and only stand off as you can't. Also, apostrophe usages are based on omissions. But what is an omission? Well, as you know, speech is in constantly change. This means that when a particular way or in a particular style of somebody else starts getting common, so the speech starts changing by itself, and this affect in writing and also in different type of arts. For example, something we see that in a informal way they write it as something and an apostrophe at the end. That means that they are trying to say us that most of the people omitted that letter. In this case, G. We're gonna see the other example. This is a common example. When we want to say you all, people in the southern of America, they use it as yo. Why? Because they are trying to omit the pronoun, at least the two vowels, O and U. These are the two usages in apostrophe. Number one, in contractions. Number two, in omissions. There are several rules of apostrophes usages, but I'm gonna explain you six today. Number one, for most singular nouns, we add an apostrophe and s. Let's see the examples. The dog's leash. We are talking about one dog. So in this case, we're gonna say dog apostrophe s. We're gonna write it in that way. Second example, the same way. The writer's desk. We see we are talking about one desk of one writer. So we're gonna put in this way, writer apostrophe s. And the last example, the planet's atmosphere. We are talking about one planet atmosphere. So it's a singular noun, so we're gonna place it apostrophe s. We have a variable in this rule. When they are singular nouns, we just add apostrophe s. But let's see the other part. When we have a plural noun, we just add only an apostrophe. If we are talking about the dog's leashes, we are talking about multiple dogs. So in this case, we're gonna use just the apostrophe after the last letter. In this case, after S. We have another example, the writer's desk. Multiple writers, they are not only one. So that's why we just place an apostrophe after the plural noun. And the same in the other example. Rule number 3. When the plural noun does not end in S, we add an apostrophe S, as we see here. We see here the children's toys. This will be incorrect if we are trying to make it plural. Remember, this is an irregular noun. Irregular nouns have a different root and base form when they are in plural. So when we see here in this example, the children's toys, we have a plural noun, but we have to add an apostrophe s to make possession, to make it a possessive noun. The same in the other example. The geese's migration route. This is in plural, irregular also. So that's why we just add an apostrophe s. But what happens? Look, in rule number 4, we have another exception. For singular proper nouns that end in s, you just have to add an apostrophe. We say in the example, Charles Dickens. You already know, as you study literature, that Charles Dickens is the way that is written. It's not multiple authors. We're not talking about more than one author. So when the proper nouns ends in the base form with s, we're just gonna place an apostrophe after the s. And the same as in cities that ends in s, we're just gonna place an apostrophe. Rule number 5. When we are talking about possession that belong to more than one person. Let's see the example. Bob and Jim's bait shop. When we just place an apostrophe s at the end of the compound subject, in this case Bob and Jim, we know that we are talking about just one bait shop, Bob and Jim's. But there's a deal when we try to refer to different items, to different objects that owns different people. So let's see in example number 6. For possessions of separate things that belong to different people, what we're gonna do? Okay, we have the example, the same example. Bob's and Jim's bait shops. What this means? Okay, easy. Bob's and Jim's have different bait shops. They have one each one. So when you place double apostrophe s in both subjects, that means that you are trying to refer that they have different possessions. So for you to remember everything that we are talking about, we have 6 rules. In that 6 rules, we're going to learn how to use apostrophe in different situations. So I need you to practice this. How are you going to make it? Number 1, you're going to make 6 sentences using each rule. After that, you're going to write in your notebook 5 possessive pronouns. Well, and that is your homework. I hope you enjoyed the video, guys, and you learn. Thank you.